So very good day to everybody. Once again, this is integrated logistics management, and in today's class, we'll discuss about the special use of information, especially in logistics, with the order cycle, EDI, electronic data interchange. Then we'll have the use of vans, especially in logistics, CPFR, collaboration planning, forecasting, replenishment. Then about RFID. Okay. So I'm not going to discuss about RFID because we have already discussed much more about RFID in the previous two classes. So only like all the topics but except RFID we will be discussing. Okay. So this is especially for you, my students and young researchers, and you can reach me at dr.christoananth@gmail.com. So before beginning the session, once again let me thank God for giving me this opportunity to deliver this useful session to share my knowledge among my fellow national, international participants, students and young researchers. Right. So in this class, we discuss about order cycle, okay, and what are the various stages in the order cycle. Then with regards to inventory management, what role the order cycle is going to play, what are the examples to the order cycle, okay. Then about EDI in the logistics sector, okay, like we'll understand the role of EDI in freight and logistics. Then the internet protocol as a service, so that we'll be discussing the solution providers, especially the significance of vans in logistics, CPFR in logistics, and the process associated. Okay, so I'm reminding you once again that the assignment has already been posted. Please complete them. We've just got one more week. Okay, so at regular intervals I'll be giving you some short videos to discuss the knowledge in our topics. Right. So order cycle, as the name implies, okay, like it's a time taken, okay, to receive the order and maybe process the order. So this time frame, this time which you actually take, okay, depends on the type of the product or maybe the service which is actually being ordered. So the logistics that is involved in the order cycle can also impact the time frame. So maybe like if the product needs to be shipped from the warehouse, the order cycle will take longer than if the product is actually available for pickup at the local store. Okay, so there are 4 stages. We'll go for taking the order, processing the order, shipping the order, and finally delivering the order. Okay. So every stage will be having several subsequent steps, and each of these processes steps will take different amount of time. Okay, so maybe for the taking of the order, okay, so what you will have with the taking the customer's order. So you can do it by phone or maybe online, okay, but in online you have to make sure that all the functionalities are working, okay, well, okay, or maybe in person also you can go for, okay. So order also you have to record it correctly, the bills that you have to maintain, okay, so you can process it much more correctly, okay. And processing the order, so once the order has been taken, it should be processed correctly, okay. So you have to input the order in the system, check for its availability, and estimate the total cost associated. Okay. So depending on the complexity of how the order is, so the stage also will take the time. Okay, for maybe like few minutes, maybe to few hours even. Okay. Which means that it involves packaging the products, sending them to the customer through a shipping method. Okay, like maybe United Parcel Service (UPS) or maybe FedEx type of service. Okay, so the shipping time will depend on the distance the product has to travel and the shipping method that is actually used. Okay, so maybe for the customer order cycle, procurement cycle, like we'll be having manufacturing cycle, replenishment cycle. So this is all the process will go, maybe supplier, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, then to customer. Okay, and again feedback will come, okay, especially to the procurement cycle. Okay. Then the final stage will go for delivering the order. Okay, so the final stage it's delivering the order to the customer. So for the local orders, you can do it by hand or maybe with a delivery service. Okay, so for online orders, of course, the product will be shipped to the customer's address. Okay, so depending on the shipping method which is actually used, maybe it might range from few days, maybe to few weeks even, maybe even might take month if the distance is very large, and of course the delivery service is not available enough. Okay, so order cycle, definitely it's a very important significant part in logistics, so that's going to determine how long it will take for the order to be received and of course processed. Okay. So with special relevance to inventory management, we'll try to define the order cycle. So order cycle, you can also call it as a review cycle. Okay, so it's nothing but the amount of time, okay, that is taken to sell or maybe use enough of the supplier's products in order to meet the target demand. Okay, so the target order is the vendor's purchase requirements or maybe a number of products. Okay, so that you can have some, you know, discounts associated in order to sell those products well in time. Okay, so for this one, we will have the formula or maybe formulae. Order point is equal to anticipated lead time multiplied by demand per day plus the safety stock. Okay, right. So you have to, before setting the reorder with your vendor, you have to know that enough inventory is available in order to complete your orders before you actually run out of the products during the anticipated lead time. Okay, you should definitely have your safety stock even. Okay, so in case maybe you sell more than the forecasted demand or maybe some complication in the process that you have to manage later, so you have to have some safety stock. So if you fail to set the reorder request from your supplier on time, then definitely you will face the stock out problem. Okay, so this reorder, you are going to have the point. Okay, reorder point is equal to average daily usage rate multiplied by lead time plus safety stock. So that's the additional stock you will be maintaining for safety purposes. Okay, even like we follow, you know, same order cycle, okay, for years without altering it, okay, according to the changing circumstances. Let us take an example. A company has been following an order cycle of 20 days, especially for a primary supplier. Okay, so let us take in the case, what if they realize that they can fulfill the vendor's target order requirement in maybe 10 days instead of 20 days. Okay, so a 20-day order cycle maybe will cost them to overstock the product because they were ordering for a 20-day supply of each item from the vendor. Okay, even if the EOQ, economic order quantity, for any particular product showed a 10-day supply. So maybe if they only order every 10 days, so which means they can avoid this overstocking products. Okay, so maintaining the economic order quantity will actually maximize, increase, improve your profit. Okay, so maybe in this case, the 20-day order cycle will also have a negative impact on the customer service and delivery. So maybe if you are going to order a 10-day supply of products every 20 days, so that will have numerous stock out problems. Okay, so customers also could order an out of stock product even, or maybe demand for that particular product, so that maybe the demand rises, so that you can go for the thing. Okay, so if the company reorders after stockouts, then you can have several days, even like weeks even, for the new stock to arrive. So that might result in customers not satisfied with their product, which means that they have to wait long for their delivery. Okay, so here we will be having electronic data interchange in the logistics. So that's the critical technology driver. Okay, so businesses also will, with the EDI solutions, have come out forward in order to exchange data and of course documents digitally. Okay, without relying on the traditional or maybe time consuming paper based, hard copy based processes. Okay, so electronic data interchange will have several benefits. According to the research or maybe the survey, firms can shave off as much as 70% of the document processing cost if you are trying to incorporate the EDI solutions, especially soft copy. Okay, so in addition, some estimates also suggested that the EDI can improvise the customer delivery time by 30%, so that will be translating into the substantial customer satisfaction, and of course you can improvise the market share gain. Okay, so EDI solutions definitely for the brand to brand document sharing even. So with regards to collaboration or maybe integration with special technological advancements, so they have come a long way. Okay, so EDI, of course, in logistics, it's becoming a must have. Okay, must have for modern day logistics firms. Okay, now especially in freight and logistics, including the world's biggest logistics firms, maybe DHL, UPS, FedEx, Maersk Line. Okay, so they are using this EDI, especially for faster, streamlined communications, lower operating cost, reduced document processing errors, special better utilization of HR, increase transaction safety security as well. Okay. So especially with faster streamlined communications, EDI is going to communicate efficiently with the trading partners in real time. So instead of relying on the old traditional technology on maybe faxes or maybe phone calls, firms can use EDI maybe to send as well as receive messages instantly beyond their the limit what they are trying to maintain. Okay. Then of course lower operating cost. Okay, so you can go for the cost savings, especially by reducing the data management expenses, especially that is associated with the paperwork. Okay, so instead of relying on the data clerks or maybe postal services that you will be incorporating, transporters can also use the EDI to communicate cost effectively, go for more cost savings, especially through the internet. Okay, and of course reduce document processing errors even. Okay, so this is how you even with the manual processing even that errors that you are prone to more errors. Okay, so instead of asking a staff to maybe process reconcile documents manually, firms can use EDI especially for automated tracking and maybe transaction tracing even for every stage. Okay, and of course better utilization of human resources. Okay, so you can increase the productivity, you can free up the staff time that is actually dedicated especially for the document processing. So rather than assigning employees to do repetitive tasks, maybe like purchasing orders, preparing bills, invoices, correcting the errors, companies can automate the task, especially with EDI. Okay, so that make them much more time dedicated, especially for the value added projects. Okay, and of course increase transaction security. Okay, so this is how you try to protect the data, especially by to avoid third party unauthorized access through the internet connected computers. So EDI, of course, it's a more secure option than the traditional practices that you will be following. Okay, or maybe the e-commerce transactions as well. So that we will have credit cards, login, password, which are very sensitive information that has to be passed across the internet. Okay, so EDI documents will have your business applications, trading partners and customers, and we'll try to share this information. Of course, the future of EDI in logistics. So the impact of COVID has brought this logistics in a much more deeper understanding. Okay, so we need to innovate, especially with respect to IT sector, especially logistics. So according to the report, over 41% of the industry leaders try to re-evaluate their digital transformation priorities, especially to enforce better business transaction, go on with the concept of integration, stay competitive in the business, and of course go for the next higher standard. That is how you try to adapt to the next generation supply chain. Okay, so same report, despite EDI's prevalence, this is the most interesting fact. Most logistic firms only use EDI especially to manage transaction between trading partners. So that was the more focus they had in using the EDI. And most respondents cited regulatory compliance concerns as the main barrier, especially for the widespread digital disruption. Okay, internet also is even more prevalent even, and of course enterprises, of course everything you are bringing this technology, rapid advancements in each of the processes. And of course IP as a service. Okay, so internet protocol as a service solution providers are also much more harder, complex enough to work the developing resources that can become alternatives to the EDI. So EDI, of course, it has a special role in the logistics, but EDI has stayed ahead because it has the capability especially to drive according to the industry standards. So with businesses increasingly expecting more about brand to brand transaction channels, maybe blockchain, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, we have EDI to become much more competitive in the business. And of course the vans, especially in the case of logistics, we'll use it as a light commercial vehicles. So vans can be defined as a motor vehicles with at least 4 wheels used for carriage of goods, and of course having a maximum mass not exceeding maybe 3.5 tons. Okay, so we will have the classification according to the N1 category. We will have to classify class 1, class 2, class 3 weights depending on the vehicle weight. Okay. So light commercial vehicles, okay, so you can use it to transport people, okay. So in the case, maybe they are also treated as the passenger cars under the M categories, okay. So we will have different models, different sizes that are being sold, and of course everything has its own specific purpose. Okay, so many light commercial vehicles even will have the multi-stage type approval even. So what the service that you are trying to offer, so which means that the manufacturer produces an incomplete vehicle which is actually completed by the bodybuilder. Okay, so there are different build-ups that is available, especially to cater to the customer needs, especially for camper vans, broadcasting vans, freezer boxes. You can use them. So what type of purpose you are using into fits into. Okay, so using vans, like businesses also, you can deliver the goods right to their customers' doors and expectations. Okay, so vans, it's a symbol of economy, and of course especially it's a benefit to the society even. So we'll have different types of applications, maybe construction, postal services, courier services, ambulances, policing, rescue operation. We'll be having several factors, and of course mobile workshops even. So maybe we can go for passenger transportation, okay, like school buses, or maybe transport of disabled people even you can go for. So vans, you can use it in the logistics chain, especially for the last mile delivery of goods in the urban areas. So this is where you try to utilize vans by the SMEs, okay, as business tools, especially as I told you, economy and for the society, for the businesses to thrive, you can use vans. Okay, so they are used as business tools. So the total cost of ownership is very, very important. So fuel consumption, how much fuel it is going to consume, price, and of course the cost related to maintenance, all decide, according to the needs of the customers. So van derived calls also, like you can carry small groups of less than 8 passengers even. So it's all about the service that you are going to go for. So due to the weight, size, and of course the usage requirements, we will have some technological equipments, okay, maybe lower production volumes, maybe we will not allow for same economies of scale. So that's how, maybe small means according to that we will have for more technological advancements. Okay. And CPFR, collaborative planning, forecasting, and replenishment. Okay, so that's the some actions taken by the supply chain partners in order to plan the task, communicate the task, especially to cater to the customer demand, while also reducing the cost. Okay, so we'll have like business planning, sales forecasting, and of course replenishment of raw materials and finished goods. So you are going to meet the objectives of all suppliers and of course retailers. So that's where you have to get the product from the customer at the lowest cost, reduce the cost as much as possible. So maybe we will go for collaborative effort for the parties in the supply chain. So definitely we can go for exploration of more opportunities, more details as well. That is how you work into. So CPFR process is going to streamline many supply chain functions. It's going to lower the cost, especially in inventory management and logistics, and you're going to improvise the supply chain efficiency and inventory movement. Okay, so with this process, with these set of standard defined metrics, CPFR is going to help support the retailers and suppliers in order to improvise the business and of course to meet their objectives. Okay, so communication is important. Collaboration is very, very important for CPFR. Okay, and you have to develop an agreement between the supply chain partners. So you have to define the conditions, the agreement. Okay, what are the protocols that has to be followed, especially for the CPFR cooperation. So this is where the retailers, suppliers, and of course manufacturers should get into the agreement. Okay, how they will improvise the communication from time to time, and how they will actually formalize their business procedures and processes. Okay, and then you have to create a business plan. So business plan, you have to develop it, you have to agree it in the beginning itself, which means that every participant in the supply chain will be having a common objective. Okay, so it's not a mission statement or maybe a wish list of goals. Okay, but it has to have more precise information on the organizational management of the partners as well as order data. then forecasting the sales. So using the business plan, what you have developed, okay, so sales, you are going to forecast it. So when you are going to forecast the sales, you have to take into account the production and of course inventory planning. And finally, in identifying the exceptions or maybe deviations in the sales forecast. So you are going to compare several forecasts, what you are going to compare in different stages in the supply chain. Okay, so maybe you can go for exceptions, deviations as well. So that will have, identify the fluctuations as well. And of course, resolving exceptions. Okay, so you're going to communicate all the exceptions and of course deviations, especially to the most responsible and of course impacted partners as well. So this is how you're going to adjust the sales focus after you have solutions for the exceptions as deviations. Okay, so that after that clarification, you will go for resolving this. And you'll go for creating the order forecast. So this is how you develop the order forecast. So that is where you'll have the framework conditions of the business plan. Then identifying the exceptions, resolving them, generate the orders even. Okay, so the actual ordering of the goods that happens after the final order forecast. Right. So who's going to present? One. We have a new guest also. You are going to present? Okay, 1, 2, 3. You are going to present?
Today?
Yeah.
So I uploaded my assignments, but
okay, so next week you will present? Because next week Navruz. After Navruz. Okay? Right. So 1, 2, 3. You finish? 1. Today no. Next. Okay. Right. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Two of them. Huh? 2 of them.
no.
1. Okay. 1, 1, 1. Okay. Right.
Well, let me present today as well.
You want to present?
If there's time left,
can you share them in the Telegram group? You send.
Last topic, yeah. Which assignment or
First assignment.
first assignment?
Okay, then the remaining 2.